Good. So thank you so much for everyone coming. This is actually the first time we've done an in-person meetup in 3.5 years, which is kind of ridiculous. The last time we had a meetup, I was actually an intern working in interactive things, and since then I've had like an entirely different job and now come back. Yeah, so we're excited now to try this kind of hybrid approach where we're going to be doing kind of more hands-on fun social things in person, but we also like to be able to contribute to people being able to view online. So there's going to be a Zoom webinar kind of going on at the same time. So some questions might be coming from people which are not in this room. The kind of agenda and format is our speakers are going to give kind of a 20-minute presentation. Then they're going to kind of explain a bit of a workshop where everyone will get to kind of do some hands-on data viz. Then there'll be a bit of a presentation, some more socializing, and then we should wrap up kind of 7:30, somewhere around there. Just house rules. There's a board on the side here if you need Wi-Fi. There's terms and like T's and C's and photos. I think Tom is going to be taking photos at the back, and maybe Gerhard at some point. If you don't want your picture taken, just let us know and we can make sure to exclude you. If you have any issues, find somebody with a little badge. We can answer questions or deal with any problems. Before we get into our speakers tonight, we just want to first make the announcement for what's next, just so I don't have to grab anyone's mic towards the end. So the next event after this is going to be November 29th. And we're going to have our in-house Visualize team giving a presentation on the products that they've been developing for the last couple of years. So there should be some more information coming up in Meetup in a week or so, but just so you know now. So then, without further ado, let me introduce Martina and Alenka. I actually met both of them earlier this year at Outlier, where they gave a presentation on the Journal for Data Viz hashtag, and they showed a bunch of work from the community, which was lovely. Martina actually comes from Milan. She's an information design freelancer and teaches at the Quasar Institute of Advanced Design in Rome. And Alenka came from Ljubljanska, Slovenia, and she's a researcher and data visualization designer with the Research Institute in Slovenia. And without further ado, I'll hand over to them.
Okay. So are we go? Benji, can you share the screen here? We have to be inclusive to everyone.
Oh, that's a good picture, though.
No, how not to do your profile picture with low resolution. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome everyone, both in person and online, and thank you for having us. I am Martina. I'm an information designer based in Italy.
And I'm Alenka, a researcher from Slovenia.
Nice. And we want to talk about a project that we founded together almost 2 years ago. And when we actually met and for the first time, we were only the two of us. I was based in Italy, she was in Slovenia, and we decided to start together a long distance relationship. And we collaborated a lot about creating personal data visualization together about personal topics. After a while, in the last 2 years, this project grew up a lot, and we created a global community of data visualization practitioners. And we are proud to say that's globally, so actually everyone can join, and many of them joined all over the world, and this is very fun. How is the challenge structured? In general, the focus of our project is to collect data about personal life. Why is it important to us? Because based on a journaling approach, we think that looking at our life from a different point of view and from a different perspective can actually help us not only in visualizing our life and our experiences, but also learning something new about ourselves and visualization. The challenge is structured on a monthly basis. We monthly share a topic, a new topic, and a constraint to basically support us and to guide us into a common topic, and also to inspire us through the constraints. We collect data for 1 week during the month, the week that you prefer, and then we share the visualizations that we created in the rest of the time on our channels, mostly on our group on Telegram, but also on social media, tagging the page. Oh yeah, and the very last moment that we have, I think it's really important, at the end of everything when we share the visualizations with others, we also have a sharing moment and feedback. So everyone can give feedback and on the works of others and vice versa. And this is a really important moment for us to grow and to improve our skills, both visualization, communication, and creatively be inspired.
Mm-hmm. So the challenge is not only about us practicing our technical skills and figuring out new ways how to use visual metaphors or create some new chart types that we haven't worked with before, or even we are like making them up by ourselves, but it's also about this very symbiotic relationship with the data. As Georgia's Lupi, data humanism teaches us that that it's not only big data that affects our lives, that it's also small data, that the one that we can really relate to. So we kind of, this wasn't planned when we started, but somehow throughout the challenge, we kind of figured out that, you know, we have the data and then it humanizes us, and then we actually kind of also have this effect then on the data, on how we are collecting it. And this goes very much in the line with that, with the fact that that as Enrico Bertini has written here, that every data has a specific framing. And from that framing, then come interpretations. And that can be interpretations as of arguments that we are trying to achieve with the data that we have, or interpretations that the person that is, or the audience part has while perceiving the data. And example of these framings can be, for instance, on we have the data there, but then what kind of questions are we asking to the data? What kind of filtering, aggregating are we using for that data? How are we choosing the chart types to show it, and how we are maybe choosing the annotations? So all of those contribute to to this moment of argumentation of what we kind of want to achieve with the data visualization. But that's not the only frame with the data. There is another layer, and this is actually of the context that we bring in personally. So our experiences that we have from before are part of this analysis, and whether we want that or not, they are affecting how we are tackling the data and how we are visualizing it. And in the end, even if however hard we try, there will always be some bias in how we are creating that. And it's really nice to see people here smiling a little bit, because we are all aware of that. And in kind of what we are trying to do with this challenge is to embrace that bias in a way, and understand that we are not completely objective, and especially here where we have the personal data, we can go full on to bias and really explore it in ways that are affecting us. So we want to share now some examples to demonstrate this idea, and maybe starting with Quasar. So this is from a recent topic from this summer, where we were collecting the data on the weather emergencies and how they are affecting us from the emotional perspective. And Quasar here tracked the data about temperature, and not just about the actual temperature as in numbers, but also about how she perceived this temperature. And in that way, she kind of created this bridge between the objectivity of real numbers and then the subjectivity of how she was perceiving that. And that's kind of the gist of the Journal Data Viz challenge, that we use data then also to better know ourselves and then like the world around us.
Another example is made by Alessia. Alessia, she's an information designer, and she had a very tough time because of the loss of a nanny. And she decided to face the grieving and the healing process, also thanks to the visualization. And she used the topic about looking for yellow things around us. So every time that she saw a yellow object or something around her, she tried to smile. She forced herself to smile, thinking to her granny. And also it ended up obviously in being an amazing and very emotional visualization, but also it led for Alessia the yellow not just being a color anymore, not only a color, but also is now strictly connected to emotions and what she visualized and analyzed also.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Marta. Marta decided to bring mindfulness as a new topic, as a new routine into her life. And while collecting the data on the progress that she was making, actually this data collection kept her motivated and more self-aware of both the mindfulness exercises and of herself also.
About the same topic, but different person, we have Deborah, and different approach. I think it's interesting how differently she decided to approach to the same topic. Deborah decided to introduce 4 new habits daily in her routine, and that's a lot. Yeah, we have faces like, wow, that's insane. It is. In fact, she ended up didn't imagine all the habits as she wanted. She wanted to do the same habit at the same time all day, like day by day. Okay, so like at 9 every morning I do something, and obviously it was a really hard challenge that she put herself. And I think it's interesting to see how she decided to she actually could keeping up with the habit, but in different orders, like without sticking the plan so strictly. And I think it's interesting that also changing the data set, the data collection during the visualization, while she was visualizing the data and collecting them, she in some way managed data in real time.
Mm-hmm. And if you think that maybe starting with 4 new habits could induce some stress, we also had a month of collecting the stress triggers. And here is an example from Cora, where she was collecting not just the stress triggers, but also the moments of relief that kind of then dissipated the stress away.
Recording in progress.
You have to start over.
Yeah. So kind of collecting the stress and the reliefs helped her to track her overall feelings throughout the day, and again be more self-aware of them, and especially figuring out what she should do not to have the stress triggers affecting her so much.
Instead, Amber tracked data and collected data about her endless journey about getting a visa. And she struggled a lot. And she decided to visualize both how people told her how it would have been having a visa and how it actually was for her. Obviously, what was nice to look at this visualization, is that she collected all the data, and not only the practical steps that she did, but also how it actually affected her for 6 months. So it has been a very long journey. And thanks to the visualization, she better acknowledgements about the process, but also it is a memento of what happened. So it's like creating a connection about what it was and what has been in the future, hopefully, because she got the visa then. Also, I think that's nice that the emotions that she felt are visible in the visualization itself, having with these, like handless and all connected dots and paths. So it's like the feeling of what she experimented. Well, so that's basically what we do. We try to connect the objectiveness and the objective of the data with the subjective, what we bring as context to data, and we try to create a bridge and a connection among those elements thanks to our creativity.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit opposite to what the world is saying, always go big. We actually suggest to do the other way around. And instead of going and thinking big, we should maybe really go small, and maybe very small, as in putting ourselves as the audience of your data visualization. And especially because this can be done with the personal data viz. And the idea that data can really help us understand ourselves better. And by embracing this subjectivity or bias, if you want to call it, we can learn something new about ourselves, about the personal context that we are getting from. And also doing data viz is cheaper than therapy. Even though we are a small, big community of people in the Journal Data Viz Challenge, there are a lot of many other people out there experimenting with the personal data. Here, there are just some of them, a very biased selection by who we know. By giving this talk, and especially now with the workshop, we also want you to dip the fingers into the aspect of the personal data viz, both people here and online.
Yes, so in general, if you want to stay in touch, or if you want to have a look at more references and projects from the people who joined us in the last 2 years, and especially later after the workshop, if you want to share your visualization, I'm obviously especially talking to people online so they can let us see what you are doing at home. You can tag us, we are on Instagram, and if you want to join the community more actively, no shame, no judgment here, you can reach us on Telegram as well. All the links, I'm the social media manager, everything are there. You can ask me whatever. So I'm happy to open the practical part. That's always the fun, yeah. And let's work. I want to introduce the exercise that we're gonna do both here and online. We're gonna share a PDF so you can work with us even remotely. So let's cook together. Why? We are going to challenge ourselves into creating a personal visualization, but since we are a lot and we are all strangers to each other, most of us, we'd like to create a sort of emotional common space. We chose the space of the kitchen because I guess each of us has a kitchen some way, and we will work in group. The people at home obviously can work by themselves. So you should have a sticker having a flower or a star. And depending on what you have chosen, we will create groups. You actually will create groups of 2, one made by a flower person and one made by, and the other with the star person. So one group, 2 symbols. Is it right? Is it all clear? Okay, nice. So we are gonna share with you a template and a legend, and following the instruction on the legend and the symbols guidelines, basically, you will be able to fill in the template and create your own visualizations, the group visualization. So you, like at your back, so like there, next to the food and the drinks, you can find pencils, papers, stickers, if I remember well, and more pens. So colorful, black, this is up to your creativity, right? So you have to just be a little bit catchy. So let's start. Before going there, please find your mate or your group made by two people, and then we'll share with you the template. So for people at home, obviously, again, we're going to share the PDF. You have the template here to fill in as you prefer, at computer or by hand, just sketching, and then all the legend there. For people at home, obviously, we have symbols here. Not here, someone can't see me like that, but we have symbols in the legend, and they represent the person of each group. So when you see stars, it means that people with the star symbol is supposed to answer. And when you see the flower icon, people with the flower sticker is supposed to answer. Okay, so going through it and filling out a little bit, quite slowly, you would get your visualization. And we are also here to answer any question or to support you in general. Okay.
And then after the 40 minutes, we can just have like, you know, like everyone shares a little bit of, or maybe.
Yes, even though the recording will be stopped for a while to let us to all work together, like together or alone at home. After that, we can just bring back here ourselves to have a little like workshop end. Okay.
And people online are very welcome to share
definitely
to share their work either Zoom or maybe social media, and use the journal database challenge as a tag, so that
if you tag us, we can see your works, and it would be amazing, obviously. Okay.
Yeah. So find your nearest neighbor with the opposite sign. Sit down, and we bring you the papers.
And thank you so much. Most of all.
Okay.